I'm Wes Olszewski, and this is Ghost Ships, Gales, and Forgotten Tales, which is all about a lot of the books that I wrote and about new adventures, new discoveries of new stuff that we're doing together. It's also about me teaching you stuff. This is called a bolt. These were used to hold the timbers of wooden ships together. This thing right here at the top is called a clinch ring. Now, this is the reason why the ball-peen hammer was invented.
Bolts were iron bars between 3/4 inches in diameter and 1 inch in diameter. Their length varied depending on where they were to be used. There were two basic types of bolt. A blunt bolt served a purpose similar to a large nail. A clinch bolt was used to rivet pieces of wood together by the use of clinch rings. The tip of each bolt was beveled to allow for a smooth entry without damaging the wood. The holes through which the bolts were inserted were hand-drilled. Each drill bit was slightly smaller in diameter than the bolt. That made for a tight and secure fit. The holes were also staggered in their placement to keep the wood from splitting along the grain. It was the invention of the clinch bolt that led to the creation of the ball-peen hammer. Clinch bolts' ends are first expanded by the hammer's ball end. Then that swell is peened over to rivet the bolt to the clinch ring. To get a good look at how bolts were used, we're going to visit the wreck of the Montezuma. At 342 feet in length, she was one of the largest wooden schooner barges ever built. She is buried here in James Davidson's White Oak Graveyard. Well, mostly buried. If the water in the Saginaw River is low, you can go to the riverbank, walk down, looking closely down the river and up the river, you can see her port side. You'll also see bolts. A lot of bolts. Building a vessel 340 feet long and 42 feet wide took tens of thousands of board feet of lumber and thousands of bolts. In the Davidson vessels, the bolts were not used just to keep the timbers together. Their primary purpose was to support these steel straps. Davidson broke the 250-foot wooden ship barrier by the use of steel strap webbing, as well as steel band hogging braces. These were all cross-connected within the double hull of his vessels by thousands of bolts. It's almost as if the wood was there to support the bolts, instead of the other way around. For another example of shipwreck bolts, let's visit the schooner barge Dorcas Pundell. She burned while stranded inside the port of Harbor Beach. Here, at low water, we can see a bolt farm. Clearly, we can see plenty of bolts with clinch rings. As well as blunt bolts. So, our final lesson is, first you look for old growth wood. Then you look for spikes. Then you look for tree nails. Then you look for bolts. If you find them all, you're looking at a shipwreck.